And let's open up Cockpit, and now we have ZFS. Okay, our tank is online. Got mirror between our two drives, and then let's take a snapshot of our tank image. So hop over to snapshots, create snapshot. All right, so we have our first snapshot. Okay, so now we have that .zfs in Windows. So here's the snapshot of all those files. Let's simulate destroying one of the drives. Okay, what happens if we offline the disk? Okay, so we're gonna come to our healthy drive, and then we're gonna say attach disk. That's gonna say attaching a disk will convert the virtual device from disk, the single disk, to mirror. Okay, so we're gonna do that and hit attach. Okay, so now we can see that we have the mirror back and we have two healthy drives. Okay, let's look at the snapshots and look. Check this out. We've got a hourly, a daily, and a monthly snapshot already. So Sanoid is taking care of that for us. So now we're going to use Syncoid. Let's look at backup here. Okay, so we see that we have the backup pool, and we also even have a backup Immich as well. If we look at snapshots, we have all of those snapshots that we previously took. So there we go, that's replication. Hey guys, in this video, I'm gonna show you how to set up a ZFS file system on your server, which is going to give us the ability to have snapshots of the file system. What I'm gonna do is configure two drives on my server, and we are going to just configure them in mirror mode so that we have redundancy. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to install Immich, and I'm going to bind mount all of the assets and the database to our ZFS file system. I'm going to create a sub file system specifically for Immich, and we are going to configure snapshots and an SMB file share so that I could see the drive on my Windows PC also. And then we're going to go ahead and test out failing one of the drives. We're going to monitor how the ZFS pool will switch into disk mode from mirror mode because we lost one of the drives. And then I'm going to attach a brand new hard drive into the server, replacing the failed drive. And then we're going to configure our pool back into mirror mode so that we get the redundancy back on our ZFS pool. We'll see that throughout this process, Immich is still going to work. We're still going to see all of our photos, and our network drive still works, even when we lose one of our drives. Then I will show you how to automate your snapshots with Sanoid. And then lastly, we're just going to demonstrate replication using Syncoid, and we are just going to replicate our entire pool to another pool. So I'm just going to install one more hard drive into our server, and then we're going to do that replication. So stick around. I hope you learned something. If you do, please consider hitting that like button, and let's get into it. Okay, so let's whip up a new Ubuntu server here, and I'm going to call this ZFS Cockpit YouTube Demo, and we'll hit next. Do a full clone. Wait for that to clone the server. Okay, let's hop on in there. First, let's actually go into the settings, and we're going to put this on the bridged adapter. And then for storage, let's go ahead and give it a couple hard drives, shall we? So let's create one, and we can call this ZFS Cockpit YouTube Demo 1. Let's do 100 gigabytes, okay? Let's go ahead and do that. And then let's connect that to our machine. So I'm gonna hit choose, and let's just see that name there, Cockpit YouTube Demo 1. So I'm gonna do a ZFS mirror. So I'm gonna add another hard drive. So this is the case that we've got a server that we can throw two hard drives in there, and we're just gonna give it some redundancy and choose that. Okay, we've got two hard drives. So let's go and start this up. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is update my repositories. Next, we need to install ZFS utils. So ZFS utils Linux. Okay, we'll need this to be able to, actually interact with a drive that's formatted with ZFS. I'm going to open up the cockpit instructions for ZFS. Let's type in 45 drives. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is actually install Cockpit. So let's do that now. We're gonna do sudo apt install cockpit storage. And then we're gonna enable it. So we're gonna do sudo systemctl enable now cockpit.socket. And now we should have Cockpit running on localhost 9090. And sure enough, here it is. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. I'm gonna sign in with my Ubuntu account. Okay, I'm gonna jump into the administrative access. All right, so we're here in Cockpit, but we do not have the ZFS plugin, so we need to install that. Now, to run this, I will need to install Git. Since this is a fresh server, I know it's not there. So sudo apt install Git. Okay, now I should be able to copy this and paste. Oops. And I don't know why they keep those $signs in there. Let's just copy each line here, paste that. And then let's copy this one and paste that. So let's go ahead and install Samba for our network drive sharing. We're gonna do sudo apt install Samba. Okay, let's enable it. Sudo systemctl enable SMBD. And then let's start it. So same thing, but start. Okay, and then with the ZFS, we're going to share it as a network drive so that we can map it on our Windows PC. And in order to make sure that we can see those snapshots, we want to add this configuration to our smb.conf file. So let's jump in there. And then we need to append to the global section or individual share sections. I'm just going to do it to the global section here. Okay. And if you haven't done so, I need to actually create a SMB password for my user. So let's do that real quick. Sudo SMB password -a Thomas. And I'm going to create a password. And then let's go ahead and restart the SMB. So let's go sudo systemctl restart SMBD nmbd. And let's open up Cockpit and refresh the browser here. And now we have ZFS. Welcome to Cockpit ZFS Manager. Configure initial settings. Okay. Samba, manage Samba shares. So I'm gonna stick with all the defaults there. Okay, we do not yet have a storage pool. So let's create one. Okay, let's call the storage pool tank. Call it whatever you want. We have 2 drives. We're just gonna create that storage pool in Mirror, just like a RAID 1 array. And then we are going to select our 2 hard drives that we have attached to our server. And then I'm just gonna keep the defaults here. Yeah, that's fine. So let's just create. Okay, our tank is online. Got Mirror between our 2 drives. Okay, let's hop into the terminal and let's just cd to the root and list. So we can see that we already have tank mounted here. So let's go ahead and share that. Let's go to enable Samba share, and I'll just give it a share name of tank. That's fine. Browsable. Okay. So let's go ahead and enable that. All right. Let's see what our IP address is real quick. So IP address. So right here. Let's see if we can connect to that in our file explorer on my PC now. So, and then we're going to go to tank is the name of the network drive. And here it is. Let's try creating a new file system. So the parent file system is going to be tank. And then let's call this file system Immich. Right? And I'm going to go ahead and enable Samba share. Go ahead and create that. So now I have two different SMB shares, one for the root tank and one for this separate Immich. And I'm creating a separate file system because I might want to have different snapshotting settings for the file system. Okay, I'm going to set the owner of the whole storage pool to myself. So I'm going to do a sudo chown -r for recursive Thomas to tank. Okay, let's see if I can come in here and create a document. Okay, hello from my Windows PC. Let's hop into tank. So I'm going to cd tank and we can see my hello.txt. So let's actually create some files in the Immich file system, and then let's create a snapshot. So I'm going to install Docker and Immich, and we're going to upload some photos. Okay, let's just breeze through this installation of Docker. Okay, and then we're going to run the installation. All right, now that we have Docker installed, let's go to immich.app for the instructions to install Immich. So I'm going to go to get started and then install Docker Compose. Okay, let's copy this. So I'm going to cd to my home directory. Let's make a directory for Docker, cd into that Docker, and then I'm going to paste in the command to create a Immich app directory and cd into it. Then we are going to clone the Docker Compose file and the .env file. Okay, let's hop into the .env file with nano, and we're going to change the upload location, right? We don't want this to be on our operating system hard drive. We want this to be on our pool that we created, our ZFS pool on our mirrored hard drives. So that's at tank. And then I created that file system for Immich. So tank Immich library. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and put our database there too. We'll get some snapshots of that persisted database. So let's go tank Immich Postgres. Okay, I'm gonna keep the rest the same, write that. And then let's run sudo docker compose up d. So while that's polling, note, if I just go to the IP address in File Explorer, you'll see that I have both that tank and the Immich file system. So Immich, nothing in there yet. Tank just has that hello.txt in the Immich directory. Okay, Immich is up and running. So let's see what our IP address is. And I should know because I already have it here in file browser. So we're gonna go to this IP address and then the Immich port. And we'll go and just create an account here. I'll use Thomas@ThomasWillyTech. Let's upload some images. Okay, I've got some images from IMDb, and let me just throw like 5 of these images in here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images of this dude. And let's look at our Immich file system. So we've got upload. Okay, so look, here are the files on the network drive, right? Okay, so the cool thing about ZFS is that we get snapshots by default. So we're not seeing the snapshots, so let's make sure that we can see the snapshots. First thing we do is I'm just gonna manually create a snapshot. And of course, we'll go over setting up the snapshots to be automated, but let's go into Cockpit here. Okay, let's hop into ZFS, and then let's take a snapshot of our tank Immich. So hop over to snapshots, create snapshot, and we want to use just the tank Immich file system. Go with that, create. All right, so we have our first snapshot in there. So let's go into Immich, and we do not see it here in Windows. So we might just need to set it to be visible. So let's open up the command window real quick and type in ZFS set snap directory equals visible. And this is going to be the tank Immich file system. And let's try it with sudo. Let's refresh this. Okay, so now we have that snapshot.zfs in Windows, and I can check out the snapshots. Here it is. So here's the snapshot of all those files. So that's pretty awesome. That snapshot's going to include our persisted database, the database backups at that time that Immich automatically is going to do. Immich does nightly backups by default of the database, and those are going to be located in the backups directory. But now we have a snapshot here. Okay, so just like in my RAID array video, let's simulate destroying one of the drives. Okay, so let's look at our storage pool. Okay, so let's navigate over to status. We can see that our tank is online. What happens if we offline the disk, right? This is kind of simulating a failure. So I'll just go ahead and forcefully offline the disk. Okay, note that the state is now degraded, okay? It's a degraded state. However, everything still works, right? I can still use Immich. I can still navigate through my snapshots. So that's fine, okay? But one of our disks is faulted. So let's try adding a new one, okay? So I'm gonna actually come in here and I'm going to detach the disk. Now, if I already had another hard drive added there, I could maybe hit the replace option, but we're gonna detach it. Okay, so let's detach. And the cool thing is that our pool is now just in disk mode instead of mirror mode. So it's now still just totally operating fine. Everything is working. But let's go ahead and throw in another disk, another hard drive into our machine, and then just have it sync, have it mirror, okay? So I'm gonna power this off, power off. So I'm gonna go into the settings, and then I'm going to remove that hard drive. So this would be just like if I physically took the hard drive out, okay, remove attachment, and then let's go ahead and throw in a new hard drive. So we've got a brand new hard drive, 100 gigabytes. Let's create that. So I'm gonna create a new drive. It's gonna be 100 gigabytes, finish. And then we are going to attach that to our machine. So let's start that back up. Okay, let's hop back into Cockpit. Okay, let's check out our tank here. Go to status. And so we just have that one hard drive. So now we want to add the new hard drive to the pool. Okay, so we're going to come to our healthy drive, and then we're going to say attach disk. It's going to say attaching a disk will convert the virtual device from disk, the single disk, to mirror. Okay, so we're going to do that and hit attach. Okay, so now we can see that we have the mirror back and we have 2 healthy drives. So now we're good to go. We failed one drive and then we replaced it, and we have the mirror redundancy working again. Of course, our network drive is still working. Okay, so we manually created this snapshot, which is great, but I don't want to come in here every hour or every day and manually create snapshots. So instead, we are going to install a software that is going to maintain the snapshots for us, and that is called Sanoid. I think that's how you say it. So Sanoid install. Let's go to the GitHub repository here. Go to Ubuntu, and let's go ahead and install the prerequisite software. Let's paste that in there. Yes. Okay, now let's run this one. Okay, and before I enable the Sanoid timer, let us jump into the config file. So I'm gonna go nano etc sanoid.config, and I need to do this with sudo. Okay, and then let's just look at their example configuration here. So what we're gonna do is create a configuration for the data set that we want an automated snapshotting of, and then we're gonna tell it to use whatever template we want. So for example, this template production is going to be every hour for 36 hours, every day for 30 days, every month for 3 months. And the yearly is set to 0, although we could change that to 1 if we wanted to. So let's add this into the configuration. We want to do this for our tank Immich pool dataset. So tank Immich, and then use template equals production. And then let's just go and copy this production template in here. And then we're going to paste that in there. So the frequently, I don't know exactly what that means, like if it's yes or no, like on the minute basis, but we'll just keep this set to the hourly and then go ahead and write that. So let's enable the timer. So come back here to the install, and then I believe this should go ahead and run the first hourly. Okay, if we want to view that timer, we can do a sudo systemctl list timers, and let's see what we got here. We got the Sanoid timer here, and it says, what, 12 minutes left. So I guess it hasn't run yet. Okay, so it's 12 minutes until the hour. So that's why there's 12 minutes left. Okay, so we've hit the hour. Okay, so it has the last run. Let's give this a refresh. Okay, let's look at the snapshots. And look, check this out. We've got a hourly, a daily, and a monthly snapshot already. So Sanoid is taking care of that for us. Okay, so let's go over replication real quick, just real briefly. So we have snapshots on our mirrored drive, but let's say that we want to back that up to another location. Okay, so a lot of people use replication to back up their ZFS storage to a remote location. For simplicity, I'm just going to do this to another drive. So let's turn off our machine and just give it a third drive that we're going to use for replication. So I'm going to go into settings. Let's go to storage, and now let's give it yet another drive. So I know we already failed one and replaced it with another one, but this one is not going to go into our mirrored pool. We're going to create a new one, and go ahead and set this to 100 gigabytes also. This is gonna be the demo 4. Okay, and choose that. Oh, I added it to the wrong place. We want that to be into the SATA controller. So let's grab that guy, choose, and hit OK. So let's start this back up. Okay, we're in. Let me open up Cockpit once again. Okay, so we have our tank storage pool. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a separate storage pool onto that third drive. So this is SDD, and let's just call it backup. Okay, so this is just going to be in disk mode. We don't have any other disks. So if I had a second disk, I could do mirror, for example. But this is just going to be like a demo for replication. Okay, so now we have backup and we have tank. So now we're going to use Syncoid, which I believe was downloaded when we installed Sanoid, and we are going to do sudo syncoid r, and we are going to just do the entire tank pool to the entire backup pool. Okay, let's just give this a little bit of time. Let's hop back over here, and I'm going to refresh. Let's look at backup here. Okay, so we see that we have the backup pool, and we also even have a backup Immich as well. If we look at snapshots, we have all of those snapshots that we previously took. So there we go, that's replication. Hey guys, if you stuck around this long, please consider hitting that like button to help out the channel, and subscribe to see more content like this. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. All right, we'll see you.